really good for the economy. We'll keep making money. So that's why they're coming for you. It's money, plain and simple. And that's why the corporations are coming for you. The government's coming for you because they're doing what governments have always done. Governments are coming for you because they want power over you. They want to see you grovel at their feet. That's the kind of people they are. That's why they do what they do. You know, my definition for government, and those of you who listen to my radio show, you know this. It's people who have sought power over other people and obtained it. Plain and simple. That's who we're up against. There's nothing different between them and us. The only thing that makes us different from these people who wear their suits, their $3,000 suits, and stand a little taller than everybody else, is the fact that they've sought power, and we voted them in. Shame on us. All right. There are so many aspects of this coming together right now, and I'd like to, first of all, put out a huge word of thank you to my 3 wonderful and beautiful female colleagues here for their extraordinary efforts on this. I'd like to give them a hand right now. Are so crucial for this very important moment in history. I've been working on this stuff for about 10 years, as you know, and I have to say that I have not been fully scared until now. And I have had some moments when I've just kind of looked at my husband and said, honey, I'm scared. He said, you're scared? Oh yeah, I am, actually. And the reason for that is because I see where all of these, it's like the trajectory. Things are all aiming, and they're all aiming at one central location. Whether it's animal IDs in your pets, whether it's animal IDs in your farm animals, whether it's an RFID tag in your driver's license, regardless of what the issue is, real ID, they're all aiming at one central target. And you can see, it's like they're all, do you guys remember Close Encounters? I'm revealing my age, back in the 1970s. Close Encounters of the Third Kind, I think I got that right, was, everybody had to go to that, hill for whatever reason. They were all, compelled, they just had to get to this hill and making, fantasizing about this hill and making clay models of the hill. And those of you who haven't seen it, check it out, it's a good movie. But they all had to go to this one central place. That's where we are right now. The corporations are all doing it. The agribusiness is all doing it. The regulatory bodies, the FDA, the USDA, you name it, they're all doing it. The government is doing it. It's like everybody is converging in one central location. And what is that central place where all this stuff is going to finally wind up? It's going to wind up in your right hand or your forehead. Because that's exactly what is happening right now. The National Animal Identification System. Let's get all the animals tagged first. Let's tag every cow, every pig, every chicken, every duck, so that you can't eat, you can't get off the grid. You're going to be under our thumb in that sense. And after we're done doing that, let's tag all of the dogs and the cats, so that literally every living, breathing, red-blooded, and even fish, even cold-blooded, living being on this planet has a microchip in it. Do you know already they've tagged literally millions of salmon? In fact, they've tagged so many salmon up in the Northwest, they have a big tunnel that these tagged salmon go through. It's an enormous RFID reader. It's bigger than this room. And as the water rushes through, they sort of blast these poor fish with an electromagnetic beam, and then they read their chips. Right? There are so many microchips in the fish up in the Northwest, the Pacific Northwest, that you can fly over the little islands up there, and you can actually see them glistening in the sun. And you know why they glisten? Because the Caspian terns, those are fish that eat the salmon, have eaten so many of these salmon with the microchips that when they poop them out again, everything biodegrades except the microchips. And you can literally fly over and the islands are shining with hundreds and thousands of microchips that have been excreted from these birds eating these salmon. Right? So we're looking to a point where every animal is going to be chipped, and then they're going to come for the trees. They've got the technology to do it. And then when they've come for everything else, then they're going to come for all the products. I've been talking about this for years. Those of you who are lucky enough to get our limited number of copies of Spy Chips tonight, because I don't think we ordered enough, will be able to read about how they plan to tag every sewing needle, every pencil, every Boeing jet, the list goes on and on. But literally every physical object manufactured in every manufacturing plant on the globe will be microchipped. So now we're talking every animal, every fish, every tree, every pair of shoes, every book. What's left?
Well, it's obviously insanity.
That's it. It's us. I mean, that's it. They're coming for us. And they're circling the wagons, and they're coming at us from every possible angle. And the end point of all of this is coming for us. And I'll tell you, after 5 years, it's been longer. It was 2002, so after, what, 7 years? shudder to say it. After 6 or 7 years of working on this RFID issue and trying to raise awareness about it, I feel like the world finally caught up with what I saw 6 or 7 years ago when I first discovered this technology. I have this sort of unfortunate curse that I'm able to kind of see like 5 years ahead of exactly what's going to come, and then I tell people and they're like, oh, come on. Get out of here. They're never going to do that. In fact, I remember Mark Roberti of the RFID Journal saying, we'll never use RFID to tag people. You're a paranoid. You know, and now look, what are all the big companies looking to do? Stick an RFID tag in your driver's license. So now I'm going to I'm going to look into the future here again, another 5 to 7 years, and I'll tell you, I think that's probably about how long we have until they start saying mandatory microchips in human beings. So this is, I got to say, this is the moment, because with all of the transportation tracking happening, with all of the food tracking happening, with all of the money being appropriated through this stimulus package, talk about a boondoggle, to move all this stuff forward in a way they never could have done without the economic crisis. $30 billion for a smart grid that would enable information to flow out of your home, not just into your home. That's what's going to enable the RFID smart home of the future, where they can listen to your conversations, where they can know what's in your closet, where they can know every time you take the stick of butter out of the refrigerator and make a note on your healthcare record about it. $30 billion allocated for creating that already. Yeah, it just happened. Who noticed, huh? Who noticed in all those pages of stimulus bill? So this is it. I mean, I've referred to this many times as an arms race. They're winning right now, guys. They're winning. They've got the money, they've got the organization, and they've got the technology. Here's the good news. We've got the numbers. There are more of us by far than there are of them. There always have been. It's the nature of tyranny. And in fact, the only thing that allows them to maintain their position of power is by trying to convince us that there are more of them than there are of us, and they're not. There's about 80% of the world, 70 to 80% depends, who pretty much does nothing. And then of the remainder, there's about 95% who are good and about 5% who are bad. And that 5% who are bad, unfortunately, tend to get into really prominent positions of power and authority over the rest of us, but we still outnumber them immensely. So now is the time, and when I say now is the time, I'm thrilled to see you guys turning out for this. I like to think that this is the first in what is going to become many, many similar events where we turn out in enormous numbers. I want you to look around and bear in mind, so take a look, there's a hallway here that's packed, right? This room is packed. Those of you who are watching on the simulcast video can't see this, but I want to tell you that from what's in this room, it's probably, I'm guessing, about 130 people, probably in this front area, maybe 150. There's probably another 150 people behind you that I'm looking at, and there's an overspill or an overflow room of people who literally could not fit into this room that contains another 50 or 60 people. Right? That's a big number. Where you guys parked. So that's some serious dedication. I'm guessing that there's people here who had to walk like a mile to get here because there is no parking. We're right across the street from a university campus. So even with no parking, you guys have turned out and managed to come out here. Now, I want you, once again, I want you to look around, and I want you to imagine, okay, let me paint a scenario, then I want you to look around at your fellow freedom-loving, wonderful people here. Imagine that you are Mayor Susan Narvaez of San Marcos, Texas. Now, who is that? That's the mayor who we are all, I hope every person in this room, is going to show up for tomorrow and say, hi there. We're the citizens, and we're peacefully here to ask that you listen to us. Would you do that? All right.
Yes.
Do you picture 300 people standing outside of that city hall?
Yes.
All right. What would you do? You're used to your city hall meetings being immensely boring. Nobody shows up for them. Maybe half a dozen people at most, and they're the same faces you see every week. So you show up, and you think it's going to be another boring Tuesday night. And you drive up, and you're like, what the heck is going on? What are these people here for? And then you realize they're here for you. Uh-huh. Now, is that going to rock or what?
Yeah.
So what do you think? Yeah. What do you think the mayor and the city council tomorrow night, with their dumb little dog microchipping ordinance, what do you think they're going to do when they look out of their car window and go, do I even want to get out of the car? All right, that's what's going to happen. Now, I want that to happen everywhere.